Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. In the name of God, the Beneficent, the Merciful. This is a reply to Mr Bilal Phillips' lecture about Tawheed and Shirk and Harun Yahya's ideology. First of all, Mr Bilal has mentioned a few concepts and a few comments regarding the issue of Tawheed and Shirk. So the best thing to do is to define these two words, as it wouldn't be wise to use some words constantly without a proper definition and an agreed definition for these common words. First of all, Tawheed. What does Tawheed mean? Some derivatives of this word in Arabic are wahid or ahad or muwahid, yuwahid, ahad. This word means one. Literally, wahid means one. So Tawheed is the verb for that. So in English, the closest to it is unity. The unity of something is the Tawheed of something, or the monotheism, and the monotheism of God. Obviously here we're talking about Tawheed of God, the monotheism of God, or the uniqueness of God's attributes. So he's the only one with these attributes, which is the opposite of having him share some attributes with the others. This means he doesn't share his attributes with any others. So his attributes are unique to him. So is the one with the unique attributes. The opposite of Tawheed is Shirk. Shirk, some derivatives of this word is mushrikeen. Ishtirak, in the language they say ishtirak for a partnership. When you have a partnership between two people who want to start a company, they say ishtirak. They associates, association. They associates, they partitions. So shirk is the opposite of unity. It's the division. It's the division of an entity. So when some entity is divided and partitioned, and each part and each division is an associate. So this is when you have partnership. That's when each partner is an associate, and they together they make the ishtirak, they make the partnership. So the shirk literally means association, can also mean division, and it's the source of idolatry, because idolatry is about dividing God into parts, dividing God into entities, and dividing and partitioning God into objects and shapes, shaping God, bounding God, defining God, containing God, to contain God into something. So Allah Al-Wahid, the monotheism of God, is that Allah cannot be divided, cannot be partitioned, cannot be contained, cannot be bounded by boundaries, cannot be consisted, So this is the understanding of monotheism. Now Mr Bilal Phillips is saying, to say Allah is everywhere is the source of idolatry. Now I am not a Sufi person, and I do not represent, I follow the school of the Ahlul Bayt, the Shia school of thought, and however I would like to mention that we also believe that Allah is everywhere. To say Allah is absent from a place is already partitioning God and dividing him, and that's the source of idolatry. So now the shirk, the division of God, the partitioning of God, is the idolatry. is not to say that Allah is everywhere. Yes, Allah is not, Allah doesn't intermix with the objects, doesn't intermix with the object, but He's not absent from any dimension or any time or any space. And I will explain this further as I go through the rest of this conversation. First of all, I would like to highlight that in our school of thought, we do not imitate in usul al-din or the aqidah. We do not imitate the text or anyone when it comes to these issues about Tawheed, monotheism, and adl and ma'ad and the infallibility and things like this, which are totally logical implications. Every human has been given the tool to reach these stages. We imitate in the details, furu' ad-din, which are the instructions given by the Prophet, so for the details of the religion. Now I know that Mr. Bilal and the others of the Salafi school, they actually imitate even in the Aqidah. Otherwise, why is he saying God is not everywhere? Simply because the Imam of the madhab that he follows has said so. Not because he is doing ijtihad for his own self in this issue, but is imitating what his Imam has said. Even if the Imam said God is divided into parts, he has to imitate, because there is imitation in everything. So now, if I cannot argue with this sort of ideology, because if I say this is what logic says, this is what aql says, he will say that this is what my text says, and the conversation is a dead end. So I decide to use the text, use his method to argue and prove that he is also wrong. To say Allah is contained only above the throne. Allah is not contained, and Allah is not partitioned. So what about below the throne? If Allah is only above the throne, as you say, first, you don't have a proof for this. It's a literalistic misunderstanding of a verse, which has become an aqidah for the Salafi people, and is the aqidah of shaping God. Because to limit God into one place, one space, is shaping God and limiting God and defining God. To say Allah is above the throne but not below the throne, and not behind the throne or anywhere else, is actually putting God inside a box, and that is idolatry. That is the origin of idolatry. And tajseem, that is tajseem and tashbih, likening God to his creation, and tajseem is shaping God, is defining God. This is what idolatry is. Now, so I will use the Quran to read some verses and explain the verse that was misunderstood by Mr. Bilal and the Salafi people,